Welcome to a short video about forwards to backwards transitions on skates. After initial balance and comfort riding forwards and basic backwards, this is one of the first tricks that skaters start to attack. Unfortunately, if you're like me, you can end up with a mediocre transition that doesn't feel great at high speeds and no idea necessarily what you're doing wrong. The difficulty is compounded by the fact that there's no obvious visual difference between what you're doing and what you want to be doing. You just want it to feel smoother and be able to do it at faster speeds. This led me to believe that I simply needed to do more repetitions in order to make the motion feel good, which led me to practicing it incorrectly and without progress for an extended amount of time. So here's a bad transition out of skates, and here it is in skates. And it holds up fine at low speeds, and it will be the way that virtually everyone very first learns the move, but you should work on progressing beyond this as soon as possible. The core of the issue here is the weight transfer from foot to foot as you turn. Having your weight evenly distributed gives you that feeling of balance, but as you increase your speed, this ends up being a major hindrance because the second foot that you turn ends up being perpendicular to your direction of motion, which means you must either slide slightly or increase the speed of the motion in order not to trip. So here's what you're actually going for out of skates. Just a step here. And in skates. The trick really is to transition all your weight to the foot that's facing backwards before bringing your other foot back to match. I picked my foot up completely once here, but you can leave it on the ground and just slide the skate with no weight. So again. So think about your weight distribution as you turn, and in particular, the first foot that turns should end up with most or all the weight on it as you turn the second foot to match. I also want to take a moment here to address two very common pieces of information I've seen given to skaters learning this and tell you while I think they may be useful, they're not really the root of the issue. One is to turn your head and upper body first in order to automatically speed your transition. While this concept can certainly be helpful for this and many other tricks, if you ever want to ride backwards without turning away from your direction of travel, then you either have to learn the real mechanics of the move anyways, or you have to do this funny look backwards to turn and then rotate your head back around to match the direction of travel again. The second here is to learn the mohawk transition, which is where your skates are both down and facing opposite directions, at least for a moment. This is great because it allows you to get in a comfortable balanced position before you take a step to match your feet facing backwards. The problem that I have with this is that for many people, skating in the mohawk position at all is quite a bit harder move than the transition itself. And further, I don't believe it's actually a prerequisite to an excellent transition at all. You don't need to be able to stay in that position. You move through it, just like when you're on your feet. Now, if you can already mohawk or you're a more advanced skater just looking to clean up your transition, I do think it can be an excellent practice tool. But if not, then I recommend focusing on the core mechanics of the transition. Move your weight to your leading foot early. Hope that was helpful. Leave me some feedback if you have it, as I'd love to improve this video in the future, and have a good night.